What's up, guys? Welcome back to Third Pedal Podcast. I'm Zach,
Jacob.
and today we got something really exciting. So, first of all, we learned how to pronounce lemon correctly, and there was a wild goose chase that led to that conversation. We talk about the Isle of Man TT crazy motorcycle racing. Speaking of motorcycles, Jake has got some news to share with his. I'm back in a manual car, so that's super exciting, and a lot of cool stuff. And hang on for the end for some NASCAR American awesomeness. Shad posted, did you see that his post in the group, the recent one? He posted like the meme of like
how many cars people own?
So that's it. We'll just start it when I started that sentence. That the average person owns 8 vehicles in their lifetime.
Yeah, that's a ridiculous number.
That was absolutely comical. I'm like, First of all, I don't trust that science because
no.
Like how, I don't know how that's impossible. So what I thought was awesome. And if you guys listen, if you're not in our Facebook group, go join the Facebook group, Third Pedal Podcast Crew. We'll tell you more about what's in there. But anyways, you'll see this post fairly recently. By the time this is out, it's probably about a week old, but comment in there how many cars you own and what age you are. That apparently started to be the trend, what people are doing. But I know I'm at 13 personally.
Wow.
Did you put in there? I don't think I saw you comment in there what you're at.
Okay, so I started counting like 4 times, and I got it once down. I got the number down. I can't recall what it is though. I kept counting. Like I'd be sitting there counting, and I'm like, I'd be on both hands or whatever. I think it's I think it's around 13. I would lose it. I think it's like 13 to 15 ish, and then it depends on if you count motorcycles and stuff like that. But
I would count motorcycles as vehicles, and then as a caveat, I also counted Jessica's cars after we got married that we bought together.
That's fair.
Because it was titled under my name as well.
That counts.
So
that counts. Yeah, I'll have to do the tally. There were some impressive numbers in there. Dude, some people were like high 20s and 30s.
I know. And then people are like way up there. And then mom, did you see mom comment? I thought that was hilarious.
No, what'd she say?
She's like not saying with like a wide eyes emoji. Like that's hilarious.
Yeah, they're in, funny. I forget what Dad's last count was, 30 something. It was up there. We got time to catch him though. We're only in our 20s.
We're for sure catching him. We're both in our mid-late 20s.
Every time I tell them about a new vehicle thing on us or what I think we're going to do, Dad just sits there and like smiles. And then Mom's like, you know who you get that from, right? I'm like, well, I know.
Dude, how cool is it? So we did the Cars and Coffee. What was it? Shout out the name of it. I forget what it was called that we did
on Father's Day.
Yeah.
That was at that Black Canyon coffee shop. It's just the Waukesha Cars and Coffee here in Wales, Wisconsin. But it's third Sunday of every month. If you're around here, come on out to it. It was awesome.
Yeah, I want to try to figure out how to get down there for the next one too. It's not all that far, a few hours down, but zip down there just for that.
Yeah.
But it was awesome. I'm bad at counting. Dad said, 250 cars or something like that?
Yeah, we guessed like 2 to 250, something around there. It's pretty sweet. It's neat because they take over all their like, and I'm sure everyone else is like, we've been going to Cars and Coffee their whole life. And this is just a new sport for us, apparently. But like, I don't know why I called it a sport. I was trying to think of something funny. But like, it's cool. It's really, really cool because it's like, it was super respectful, but like a huge variety of cars from like diesel lifted trucks to like, crazy tuned R8s or things with scary size slicks on them.
It was 100% diversity. Like literally every single make of car, every single type of that make. Like there was like, there was like slammed muscle cars and track muscle cars and drag muscle cars and stock muscle cars. And everybody was like, they're cool.
I think the pinnacle for me was there's that lifted diesel 4-wheel drive, like imported Japanese van that the guy's talking about, like working remotely and living in and doing all that. And parked directly next to it was like a 1930s like drag car to the left. And then to the right was like an ACR Viper. And then next to that was like an Aston Martin and like just like the weirdest variety. And then there's like slammed things with anime stickers on it and like just everything. And then that group of like 3 like GT3s, like old like 2002 GT3s or something like that.
Yeah,
down at the end of the block. Like there were just crazy stuff.
3 GT2s, 996 GT2s, right? 3 of them, I think, right there.
Yeah,
dude, it was not. That was GT3 like a newer GT3 RS. There was a newer GT3, but dude, it was just cool. So if you guys can make it there, I know we got a lot of people in the crew who are in that area.
Yeah, we got to see James's GR Corolla. He got the new Circuit Edition, which was sick. He's pretty
Yeah.
present on the page. So that was cool. But yeah, it's definitely like we post stuff like that on this crew page. So go check it out. Facebook groups, Third Pedal Podcast crew, share your build, all that jazz. And Zach actually shared some pretty harrowing news to the team. He
Yes.
got
I had to make a
up close and
confession.
real with us.
I had to make a confession in there because I haven't been honest with all you guys, and honestly, I've been a fraud, and it's been something I've been carrying as a burden for the
Carrying
last
it for
2
these past 2
years.
years.
Yep, that we've been doing this, but I made things right. So over the weekend, I went and purchased a 2016 Subaru WRX in 6-speed manual. That's both the horn and me racking gears now, dude. And it was funny because I think we talked about this on a prior episode, but like you broke me letting me drive your car, whatever. One of the times we were down there,
Yeah, you had to
and I
run
needed to
somewhere.
run
You're
an
like,
errand.
can I take the WRX?
Yeah,
Sure.
go for it. And I had like windows down and just like going through gears and stuff. I'm like, oh, I forgot how much I missed that.
Yeah.
So a lot of things culminated into buying that car, and now I'm going to be selling the Audi. I'll probably post that on the page as well, just so like anybody on there who wants to buy it. I'd prefer to sell it to somebody on the
That'd
crew
be
page.
awesome,
It'd be kind of cool to like my history with cars is like I keep up with the people who buy them. Like
Yeah.
even with my first car, my Datsun, like
yeah.
only one I couldn't track down was my Audi. That's a long story, but
that's probably okay though. You don't want to see where that one's at now.
yeah, right. It's probably on layer 3 of truck bed liner. But so yeah, it's good. I'm back. I've got a clutch now. And it's really, really fun. And anyways, yeah. So I don't have any plans for the car immediately. It's got a bigger turbo. It's got a Mishimoto intake. It makes all of the turbo flutter noises, which is amazing.
Yep.
More than my Audi too. I thought my Audis were loud, and like I thought those were really fun and everything, but it's so much more controllable.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, like tactilely, I don't know if that's the right word, but like when you're going through the gears and able to control shift points and when it actually blows off to make those sounds, like for whatever reason, it's like a million times more satisfying.
Oh yeah. So, yeah. Cause you're not going to fight like a automatic clutch somewhere or fight something releasing it early which is probably more efficient, but it's way less fun. So like, it's cool to be able to do that yourself.
Yeah.
Have you, golden question now though, have you stalled it yet?
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
You did?
Yeah. I stalled it on the way home.
Oh, really?
Oh,
that makes me feel so much better. Oh, I stalled my car so many times.
Dude, it was not till we got home and not till I was backing into my driveway.
Oh, okay.
So I had to like
That's
back
reasonable.
in, and it's like I don't have a steep driveway, but it's a drive. It has a slope to it. Like you definitely got to put the parking brake on and everything. So I was backing in. You know, you hit that little bump at the edge of the driveway with the front wheels, and I stalled it. It was embarrassing. Yeah, that's the first time though.
Not as embarrassing as me stalling, reversing into parking spots at our first show together with the livery on for the first time. So
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
that was
you don't
funny.
have to live with that.
Yeah. Dude, a lot has happened since we recorded. We've been gone for a minute. So
it has been a minute.
I bought a manual car. In between those shows, we did our first Cars of Coffee, which is at Genesis Impact Sports in Little Chute, Wisconsin. If anybody's ever interested in going shooting or buying a gun or whatever.
Yeah, definitely check them out. It was a super cool
place,
show.
Awesome staff. It's like the best range I've ever been to. It's got a lot of modern tech, a lot of cool stuff. That was a super fun show, and then we did that. We
installed the livery at midnight before on my car. Which, if you guys haven't seen it, that's also posted on the group page. But yeah, we did like a really quick. We thought it was going to be a 1 hour install. It turned into like a 4 hour install for not a lot of stickers, which is kind of depressing. But
it took a long time.
But yeah, did that before that show, which is super cool. Yeah, we got the little. You can scan it. If you see our car, you'll know it's our car because it's branded like crazy. But you can scan the rear fender and it'll bring you right to the podcast, which is really cool. So we did that. And then, between that and the next show, you got a different car. You got to bring the Impreza or the WRX to the show here. And then you actually pulling in, there's that other WRX that like came up right behind you and parked right next to you. And we're like, dude, you already made a friend. Cool. This is great.
Yep. Already joining the Subi gang.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool.
No, that's awesome. You're not the only one who got a new mode of transportation recently.
Yeah,
and I also have a confession, everybody. I know I've been really hard on BMWs. I haven't had one since my E46 way back, which like it was a lemon, but also I paid $1,200 for it, so that should have been red flag enough. Especially looking back at it, like back then that felt like a decent beater price, but now that feels like a parts car. So anyway. I finally got a BMW that I can stand behind, sort of. I traded I had that 2015 Aprilia in this long standing trade up challenge. And so I had relisted it, and this dude reached out. And he's like, hey, I have a 2016 BMW F800R, which is like their naked sport bike. And he's like, really long story short, like, I got this thing. I thought it was going to be a safer bike than my like BMW Super bike, but it's really uncomfortable with my knees. So I need something that has a different rider position. This is worth more than yours, but I'm willing to eat the cost difference if it's comfortable. And I was like, dude, done. Let's do it. So he ended up. It was a funny story, and I made like the biggest mistake I've ever made selling anything before. So I trailer the bike out to Madison area. I meet the guy out there, and like we meet up, we go through both of the bikes, we go on a ride together. Most fun I've ever had. The dude's like laying my bike down like so far on the side, just like fully feeling it out. And I'm over here like the second bike I've ever ridden, just trying not to like eat it. But we
Yeah.
ride it. He's a super cool guy. He used to have a bug eye. He's looking at S6 similar to what my father-in-law has. We talk for a while. All goes well. He's like, yeah, let's make the deal. So we signed the paperwork, and I'm like, dude, this is crazy. Like, awesome. I just bumped up like a little bit more value in this whole trading experiment. And I get the bike, we ride it home. And then like 3 hours later, we're sitting at Chloe's parents' house, and he texts me, and he's like, hey, I have no clue how neither of us noticed this, but you gave me the title for your Audi Q7. You didn't give me the title for your Aprilia.
Which is just
And
insane. You
yeah, and so
titled the
like,
dude over
yeah,
your nice SUV.
yeah. So I thought I traded up. I actually traded down by a lot.
Yeah.
Um, but so, immediately like pooped my heart out and was like, well, cool. So then I text him like, well, I'm really sorry. That's terrible. And he's like, yeah. And he's got like a really funny sense of humor. So he's like, yeah, my wife is saying that I should come back and pick up our Audi, but I don't know. I'm really liking this Aprilia. So I think we'll go ahead and keep that. And so we organized the next day actually to meet up to hand over the correct title and get my Audi back pretty much. And he's like, yeah, no problem. So we organize a time, and so I go with a buddy, and we pull up, and he's on the bike. So I'm like, I brought the WRX. He got to see it. He's like, dude, I've checked out the podcast, which I hope you're listening to this podcast, man. Thank you for being honest with my Audi.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he comments on my car for a little bit. We talk about it. And I'm like, dude, how's the Aprilia? And he's like, it's sweet, wheelies really well. I was like, what? And he's like, yeah,
Just putting
yeah.
it to
And I'm
use.
like, well, and I'm like, well, I'm too scared for that. So, good for you. I'm glad you're enjoying that. He's like, oh, don't worry, your BMW will wheelie too. I'm like, okay,
Like,
I
great.
don't need
Thanks
to
for
know
telling
that.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that not what I needed to hear. But yeah, so he's like, yeah, it's way more comfortable anyway, and we're all good. So we hand over the correct title. So yeah, we're all good. He leaves. I get home. I properly own both of the things that I think I own. He owns what he owns. It's great. So like I think that's the end of it, right? So then like 2 days later, he texts me, and he sends me a picture of the keys for the Aprilia, and he's like, "Hey, I forgot I had a second set of keys for this. Let me know your address, and I'll mail it to you." And then he sends a message right after, and he's like, "Please disregard, like wrong message." And I was like, wait, did you sell the bike already? And he's like, oh yeah, long stories. Like I've been interested in this other cruiser, and like this person, like I threw it out there as like hey, I could trade this. And the guy was actually really interested and rode 2 hours to make the trade. So he already traded it. I was like,
That's
well,
hilarious.
good for you, whatever. And then like 2 days after that, I'm browsing through Marketplace because I'm looking for campers right now. And the Aprilia pops up, and I'm like, what the heck? So I go look, and it's this guy that had traded for it. And I messaged him, and I was like, hey, nice bike. That used to be mine like a week ago. And he was
Yeah.
just like,
You're like,
dude, no way.
recently.
Yeah, like not long ago.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, probably still has gas that I put in it.
Yeah. Like if
And
someone
he's,
stole it, they could swap it for your prints.
yeah, still has my blood on it.
Two owners back.
Yeah. So he's like,
That's funny.
oh yeah, no, it's a sick bike. I'm just seeing what's out there. I'm like, dude, I don't know what like circle of bike people I just entered that like
Yeah,
either
right.
don't register
Careful.
bikes or what, just swap them all back and forth. But yeah,
You gotta be
so I
careful because
officially
you might have 12 bikes by the end of this month.
right? Yeah, who knows? Who knows how many hands it's exchanged before it actually gets registered somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's
so
hilarious.
I officially am back in Beamer world, and it's funny because I forget which one. There's Bimmer and then Beamer, and I think Bimmer is the car and Beamer is the bike. It's different, and they get very offended if you use the wrong one.
Oh,
But
I
I
had no
think I'm
idea.
back in Beamer land. But yeah, so we'll see how long that lasts. Hopefully not long because it's way more bike than I ever want to own. But I'm taking my motorcycle license test on Friday, so we'll see. By the time this episode comes out, I'm either going to be spending a weekend crying or riding. So we'll see how that goes.
Wait, you don't have your license yet?
No, just my temps.
Oh, okay. I
So
thought you were
yeah,
like, yeah, I've owned this bike for a while and decided I should finally get my
just
license.
winging it.
Yeah,
No, I've had my temps for this whole time. And
gotcha.
so yeah, so now I've got the road test scheduled for Friday. So we'll see. There's a bunch of auto fails for like seemingly little stuff. I'm glad that they are because it matters to be safe and all that. But like
Especially on a
little stuff.
bike, yeah, there's very little
Yeah.
margin
Not
of
a lot of
error.
margin for error. Yeah.
Like, dude,
So
okay, so we talked about the bikes. Like,
mhm.
we saw some sick motorcycles at the show too.
Yeah.
And even the guy I bought my Subaru from, he was like, "Do you want to buy a motorcycle from me too?" He had what
That's
was it,
right.
Ducati Monster or something like
Yeah,
that.
Ducati Monster, the 1000cc thing.
Yeah, I was like, first of all, when we were negotiating the price, I told you literally every penny that I brought with me, which I did, and that's how I got the. I won't say it's like the shrewd negotiator tactic or whatever, but we were talking about the price, and his absolute bottom dollar was $500 more than I brought. I was like, all right, here's my last card. I literally only brought this much. And it worked out. But so he wanted to sell me the bike. I didn't even look at it, but I was like, I won't look at it because like I'm very
No.
interested in motorcycles. Like obviously they're awesome.
Yeah.
I drove Dad's when he had that one, and it's like it is the most free feeling. Like
Yep.
I get it, but I know that I'll
Yep.
hurt myself because I know that I will go too far, and I'll try to do something stupid,
Yep.
probably.
That's
And
why I don't want to keep it too long because I feel like it's
yeah,
just
yeah.
a matter of time. Yeah.
So and then you see, so like that's the mentality that I have with it right now.
Yeah.
And then you see like the motorcycle racing. Like right now, have you seen much of the Isle of Man
Dude,
race that's happening?
I can't believe that's a thing that exists in this world. I can't believe
Yeah.
it.
Dude, we
It's
went from, I know people are like, oh, history's so brutal. There used to be gladiators and they would make them fight lions and
there
they would
still
die.
is.
It's like, yeah, there's that too. But,
No, I
and
mean this race.
yeah, I'm like, we're literally doing that. But I kind of think a little bit worse. I don't know if it's worse or I guess it's better. It's probably better because if
It's
they're choosing
nuts.
to do it or whatever. But insane. So I did a
Yeah.
little bit of research. I had never like I'm sure I've seen clips of it in the past, but I don't know
Yeah.
why. But for whatever reason, this year it's like hitting my algorithm.
Yeah. Yeah.
That I'm
Same.
seeing a lot of it. So
I never paid attention to it. It seems like for whatever reason, it was really publicized this year. And then, like, I remember seeing clips, but I don't know what I thought it was, I guess. I thought it was some part of some road rally or something, but not like it's this regular annual heritage thing around an island that, like,
yeah,
always happens and people always die and it's just part of the thing. And, like, wait, what? That's still a thing? Like, we got rid of Group B. I kind of figured something like this would go away with Group B type stuff.
right. It's so much worse because you're not even in a car.
Right? You have no
Like you're
cage. There's
just
no
on a
safety
super
stuff.
bike. Okay, so
Yeah.
I got a little bit of deets about it. So
Okay.
the TT Isle of Man TT is what it's called. So that stands for Tourist
Okay.
Trophy. So Isle of
Okay.
Man Tourist Trophy. It's an annual motorcycle racing event on the Isle of Man. Which
Okay.
if you don't know, which I didn't until about 32 minutes ago, it's a small island in the Irish Sea. So it's in between
Okay.
Great Britain and Ireland. So
Okay.
it's called the Isle of Man. Is that island? And the race is basically just around that whole island. That's why it
I
looks
didn't know it
like,
was the name of the place. That's
yeah,
all it is.
it's called Isle of
Interesting.
Man. So it's the Isle of Man Tour Trophy. I just said it. Rewind if I missed it. Tourist Trophy races. So that's why, because I always thought, like, obviously it looks like Irelandish when you're looking at the videos and everything of it.
Yeah.
I always thought it was just like countryside, like they built the course or whatever out there, but it's literally
me
just
too.
like the main road around the
It's
Isle
just
of Man, which is the
circumnavigating
Isle.
the island at
Yeah.
stupid speeds.
So it started in 1907, which I think is I always think it's wild. See like how long things have been going.
1907?
1907. Yeah.
With what, like I just picture the big front wheel bikes, like the pedal things going around.
Kind of. We could it's before color photography. So it's kind of weird, that they got motorcycles. But it was called the, let's see, 1907 Silver Hip Flask, or the Silver Hip Flask. I think that might be the name of his bike.
Oh, that's a weird looking bike. Is it the very square one?
Yes.
What
Yes.
the world?
It looks like
they had
a
bikes
bicycle.
like that back then? Okay, do I know nothing about history? I guess I don't.
Yeah, probably.
What in the world?
So So yeah, so just crazy that they were doing it back then, and it's basically hasn't changed besides some safety equipment and stuff. But like, you can't really. What are you going to do? Add a cage? You can add airbags?
Right.
No, you can't
Right.
do any of that stuff. So it's seeing the videos. Let's just watch the video I sent you real quick. It's only 9 seconds. We'll watch it together since we're on. Yeah, the video.
Oh my gosh. Oh, dude.
So you probably know more about how that feels actually riding a bike, but yeah,
No, I have zero idea of what that feels like, but just even like coming to a stop sign and wobbling a little bit.
dude. Oh,
Golly.
if you keep watching it, they play it in super slow mo too, and he's literally off the bike. Now that's actually
Oh
for
my
Isle of
gosh.
Man one of the more mild incidences because he didn't actually crash.
Die?
You know, like, yeah,
Oh my
die and
gosh.
unalive. We got to say unalive for the internet
Oh yeah,
because
unalive.
they don't like that D word.
That's
Not
insane.
that
Like
one. Not that one.
even like pause the video. So like play it again and pause it at 4 seconds. Like
4 seconds.
he is
You guys can
at
do this with us if you want to watch interactively.
yeah, like he's at a very high RPM and like pay attention to where the horizon line is on the
Wait, 4
screen.
seconds when it's like
When he's at like a 45-degree angle or more. Like he's tilted
oh
pretty
yeah,
hard,
he's down.
coming like
He's like,
hard into a turn. And not even like I know
that's
bikes,
crazy.
everybody chill out. I know 45 degrees is not a lot. That's considered chicken
Yeah.
strip territory on bike tires. I get it. But
Like, you don't lean
like
down 180
yeah.
degrees.
Yeah. If you're knee ache grinding, your life is not worth binding. I don't know what the thing would be. But like
That's close.
yeah, I tried. I fell apart at the end. But like I know that's not a lot, but that at that speed and then to like lose traction and then get it or lose not traction, grip on the thing you're riding and then
Dude.
get back on it. That's insane.
Yeah,
That's insane.
on the angle. So I thought that was like a little bit of a taste of how scary and dangerous the whole thing is. And they did actually bring in some new safety measures for 2023. Like I said, I don't know exactly what they can really do, but it was because 2022 was the record year of deaths. And like you would think one would be like, oh crap, like we had a death.
Yeah.
They have had 266 fatalities.
266?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
So let me just do a quick math real quick.
Yeah, so I was going to do the same thing too.
So 266
divided by 116.
So
that is
2.5-ish.
Holy cow.
2.5-ish. So what do they have in 2022 then? 3?
Must have been. That's insane. Well, I mean, I get why. I think I saw something about the fastest speed record was set, like the fastest average speed this year, and it was like 130 miles an hour for this race, something like that.
Oh, there were 4 last year. Holy cow! It makes sense why they try to be like, all right, let's.
Well, and that's not like
figure it out.
Like that's not like someone hits something in a car and the blunt force gives them, whatever inside a car and you don't see it. Like that's bad. That's really, really bad.
Brutal.
Man.
I'm bummed out now. I don't know why I brought this up.
Yeah, that's sad. Well, I mean, it's like, oh, you brought it up because you're trying to convince me not to keep a bike anymore, which I don't want to do anyway. So thanks a lot.
It's serving its purpose.
Well, that's like, it's just crazy. So like, I'm the same. Like I knew this existed, but I didn't follow any of it. And like, I know mom and dad just got back from Italy and they had met somebody in Ireland at the airport. And they're like, yeah, we traveled here for that race. And the guy had like bought a helmet for his motorcycle at this race to get some deal or whatever. Just say he got it from there. But like,
yeah,
that's not like people travel globally to like come see this thing, just like they do for F1, for NASCAR, for all this other stuff. And like, it's nuts that they do that. And like with the assumption, like I might be sitting on a turn where I like watch somebody like eat it off of a motorcycle at 150 miles an hour and like for sure not survive. Cause like most of the road, there are like country paths in that. Like there's a lot of like open landscape. That's not the part that ever gets like publicized though. It's all these like super tight turns and sweeping like, a tight right turn over a crest that's in between two brick walls with brick buildings that are from the 12th century on either side of the road. And like, that's what they're hitting at, 6th gear flat out completely tucked and leaned over to the ground with two people right behind them. I mean, it's insane. It's
Dude.
insane.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't heard of this or seen footage, you need to go look it up. You won't believe it's actually a thing. And I can't believe there's been that many fatalities and it still exists. Other than this must just be like the wildest, craziest people. So is it like one lap? How many laps did they do of the island?
I don't know.
Wow. We
But
should
do you want
find
to know
that real
something
quick.
crazier?
Yes.
I just found something crazier.
I
I
don't know if
just
that's
found
true.
something crazier. It's at the same place, Isle of Man. Okay, just
Okay.
Google this real quick. Google this real
Okay.
quick. I
Oh
can't
no.
believe this is real. Isle of Man sidecar racing.
No way.
You ever seen a super
Who?
bike with a sidecar?
Oh, I have. I saw one of these guys at
What?
the what's that, like the Goodwood Festival of Speed thing? Why in the world would you ride? I would not. How much trust do you have in another, or how much lack of hope do you have for your life to be in a sidecar?
Bro,
What in the heck? Why? Why?
that is okay. It's pretty cool. It kind of reminds me of Cool Runnings. You know that movie, the old Jamaican
I guess.
bobsled team. But
Yeah.
they got to work together and they got to balance it up. I just saw a picture and the guy was like totally leaning to the side. But dude, yeah, you're right. Like the trust you got to have in like not
I
only
don't
are you
I don't
in
even
that
want to
as
ride
the
on a
driver,
normal motorcycle behind anybody. Like I hate on a
right?
four-wheeler with somebody. That makes me nervous. Like,
Yes.
dude.
Now, do you want to go
Okay.
do it at 170 miles an hour?
Okay, so I looked it up. So the lap record, so it is a lap, it looks like. I guess I can't tell.
It's one lap.
I feel dumb for not knowing this. Yeah, I don't know what the whole deal is. But the lap record is 16 minutes and 36 seconds at averaging 136 miles an hour. That was set this year. That's why we
It's
all
uh,
wow,
it's
260.
between 4 and 6 laps. The senior TT is 6 laps. The super stock, super sport, and lightweight categories are is a 4 lap race. Sidecar race
Wow.
is 3 laps. Makes sense. Sidecar,
Okay.
they're like, all right,
So
we'll give
then
you guys a break. You can
okay,
survive
so
three
then
laps.
so they're doing those laps. So that's nuts. So the fastest time was recorded this year, 136 average miles per hour for the run.
Average.
Yeah, average. And then 16-minute lap time for that, which is insane. Congratulations, Peter Hickman. You're a psychopath. And then for the sidecar, not that much slower. The record for the fastest lap time is 18 minutes, 59 seconds, average speed of
Oh,
119.
average 119?
I
Dude.
can't believe it, dude. And that's
Oh, I
from
can't
the
believe
guy who
that's
had the most
real.
by passenger. The passenger with the most wins, Tom Burchell. He's braver than us all. Wow. Yeah, I was just going through his.
Salute,
He's got
dude. That's
14
insane.
wins as a passenger. Yeah, I don't know, man. That's insane. I don't
14
understand it at
wins
all.
as a, do you get a smaller trophy if you're the passenger? You're like, I won, but did you though?
I don't know,
Kind of
dude.
won.
I
I
don't
mean,
know
it's
what I
teamwork
don't
for sure.
yeah, should you get a bigger one for being like
Oh, it's
ridiculous?
Oh, it's 37.7 miles. It's a long race. I know we could have figured that math out with the lap times
Yeah,
and
we could
average
have
speed,
reverse math it. That's pretty
but
far though.
just the scale of that. That's like a small road trip. That's like if you're going to go somewhere and it was 37.73 miles away, you'd be like, that's kind of far.
You would stop, yeah, as a sense of scale, you'd stop at a gas station for like a snack to hit that.
For sure.
Because
I'd have to pee at least
well,
once.
comparatively, let's see. The Nürburgring is how far? I think it's like 15 miles, something like that, 12 miles. Can't remember. I can't find the full 17 miles for the full asphalt track. There's a bunch of different circuits there,
It's
so
the
I'm not
whole
sure.
island. Isle of Man is like we have to make a racetrack. It's going to be the whole thing.
Why don't we
The
just
whole
go
island.
around it? Sure,
Yeah, we're just going
sounds
to
good.
dedicate the
Well, wait,
entire
there's
island.
some pretty tight roads in cities. That'll make it interesting. Let's
Yeah,
do it.
even better. Oh,
That's insane, man.
are there 4 foot barriers made of fieldstone that give you a nasty rash if you bumped into it walking? Yeah, let's go with the 136 on average. Dude, have you ever walked? Your basement's fieldstone, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not fun.
Dude, go downstairs right now and just walk
Well,
into your wall and tell me you
and
don't
then
have to go to the hospital. It's the
and then
roughest stone.
well, and then add an additional layer to that. Like I have to vacuum my floor down there all the time because like the stuff that's in between it and everything, like it ends up creating a pretty nice fine powder over
Oh,
surfaces that I can't imagine it was fun to hit at 136 miles an hour on a motorcycle. I get
Talk
nervous.
about Clibbins.
The speed that I slow down to turn a 90-degree corner at like 2 miles an hour in front of mom and dad's house because there's like 4 pieces of gravel on the road is so. I am so much in contrast to these people. It would be
Valid, though.
awesome to interview one of them just to hear what a crazy person sounds like. Because
Dude, you think they're going to go on an interview with us, though? Because
I don't know.
They're like, you want me to do what? You want me to talk to my computer?
We'd have to like skydive with him to do it. Or he'd be like, well, ride in my sidecar.
They're like, I'm willing to die for what I do. You want me to talk about it on your podcast?
We're like,
yeah,
we want to
actually,
tell the people. And he's
yeah,
like,
I think it'd be
screw the people.
I think it would be very interesting. That's a great idea, though. I think how many are? Never mind. I won't say that. That's so rough to say. You say how many are still around?
Yeah, that's a horrible thing to say, you monster.
We should see. We should see if we can make that happen, guys. If you have any hookups, if there's anybody listening to this that for whatever reason, by contrast, also knows one of them, I feel like it's a totally different demo of people. I feel like the people who
we should do a quick
that,
check to make sure they speak English too. That'd be a good thing.
Yeah, it's Ireland. They speak English in Ireland.
Oh,
and they're probably not all from there. That would, dude, how crazy, how alternate reality would that be? That would be the same parallel of that, as crazy as that would be. It would be, what's that island off of the coast of India that India technically owns, but it's like an uncontacted people? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Nope.
Do you know that this exists?
Nope.
There's an island off of India. It's owned
Sentinel
by India.
Island?
Yes. The Sentinelese are like an uncontacted people. There's been like a handful of people who have ever gone there, and they're like
interesting,
stabbed immediately, unalived, as the TikTokers would say.
Wow. You're just full of great news today, aren't you?
I am. Yeah, I can't believe you've never heard about this. I went down a rabbit hole with it once. I was like, there's no way, because you always think about, and people talk about it in like,
I think about that all the time. Yeah,
that there's just people that are not using iPhones and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, are not living like a. Obviously, there's third world countries and whatever and stuff like that, but but like that's at least arm's length. This is like they don't know that we exist.
Wow,
you know?
That's crazy.
They like, it's just totally weird to them. Like they're still like wearing the leather skirts and stabbing stuff with. Why can't I think of the word spears? Is that the thing?
Spears. Yeah.
I don't know. I couldn't think of that for the last 5 sentences, but super weird. So anyways,
like all the pictures are just like of them shooting at helicopters and stuff like that.
Yeah, because they're like, what is this giant bird bug thing? Kind of like they think it's some god coming to kill them or whatever. You know, they just don't know. Or it's a group of really smart people who are like, we want to be left alone. And then they just put on that facade anytime someone comes near. That's a different conspiracy theory. But, okay, now here, let me draw the line between the two. Because you're like, oh, let's make sure they speak English first.
Imagine we're going to get to a different For You page now.
I know, right? Good. Get your tinfoil hats on. Like, you're like, let's make sure they speak English. Like, all of those. Oh, man, I'm full of the noises tonight. All of those racers, you're like, what if they're just all from that island and they just all grow up being like, hey, we got to get some groceries. And they just go 130 miles an hour across town, spin around, get back. Oh, 17 minutes, not bad. I know it's not a good Irish accent, but they're like all from there and they want to be uncontacted and they know it's dangerous and they're not living the best, whatever. But like, that's just their way of life.
I love it.
So it's
this is just how they drive.
Yeah, it's like the Sentinelese, but it's, Isle of Manese.
That's the episode title right there.
Isle of Manese.
Island of Manese. That's insane, dude. That is a crazy race. Well, speaking of crazy races, I mean, the other big motorsports thing that happened while we were on our little hiatus of not recording was this wonderful little race. You may have heard of it, called the 24 Hours of Le Mans, the endurance race that happens in France. And the super weird. So apparently, this was the 100th anniversary. Can't talk. I didn't realize. I didn't know it was the 100th this year, and it's also the 75th anniversary of NASCAR being a thing. And so, what did they do? They entered a NASCAR in the 24 Hour Le Mans race, which was equally like really cool and very, very weird. I don't know. Did you see the photos of this thing?
Yeah, I know it was widely controversial. It looks as you would expect it to look.
Photoshopped because it's way bigger than all these like tiny little like endurance race like special whatever cars. You got this giant NASCAR. It screams Like all the memes about like everything you're picturing in your head about like bald eagles and American flags and like all this
Yeah.
crazy sound
Yeah.
compared to it, all of it 100% true. Like you even had like there were Cadillac Le Mans cars there, and they had V8s and stuff, but nothing compared to just like raw power coming out of this Camaro. That's it's the Camaro, whatever, the new Camaro that's going to be out this season in NASCAR. It's whatever the Cup car design is. It was modified a little bit. Obviously, like bigger gas tank, lights, like real lights,
Hmm.
things like that. It's a little bit longer, different aero, all that stuff. But yeah, they campaigned this thing. So this caused a lot of controversy, and it was like really weird because it fit in this really, it didn't like match up with any of these other cars, anything like that. So apparently, I had no clue this was a thing. I, frankly, to be honest with everybody too, have not followed this race very much, but now I kind of want to. Which,
Hmm.
if that was the whole point, good marketing stunt. But
Yeah, it
apparently,
worked.
there's this thing called Garage 56 in the Le Mans race, and I think I had this epiphany like a day ago. And if everybody else is ahead of me on this and I'm just stupid, fine. But I'm assuming it's like they have like 56 garage stalls at the Le Mans race, or there's 56 slots. And so there's
Yeah.
55 teams for everything. And then Garage 56 is just the designation for whatever this is. Maybe, don't know, probably. But apparently
Huh.
this has always been since 2012. This has been like the experimental class. So like it's
Ah.
open to like single, like they're not in any classes with anything else. They're not GT, GTE, anything like that. They're their own freestanding thing. They're not technically competing against anybody, other than like a proof of concept, like something to try something different, pretty much. So as part of that, they're not eligible to win the race. Like they're not actually eligible to like take the trophy or anything, because they
Oh,
are kind of
okay.
off limits. There's no specifications. There's no anything. It's just really meant to be like a proving ground. So
Interesting.
I think it was Hendrick Motorsports. They campaigned this car. It was really cool. It was like Hendrick, Goodyear Tire, Chevrolet, NASCAR, all joined efforts. So like the
Dude.
four, it's like the four horsemen of America came together.
Right? Dude,
They're like,
Avengers
we're
assemble,
going.
but the Avengers are just like just like
Yeah,
AR-15s
just
riding bald eagles
AC/DC
and
playing in the
yeah.
background.
Yeah. Da-da-da,
So
da-da-da. They just
right,
roll in. Da-da-da,
right.
holding the American flag out of like the passenger window, and they're just doing donuts like he's doing the what's the wrestler guy, the Austin 316, where he smashes the beers and he's chugging them. So,
Yes, yes,
and they're all sitting
yes.
there with like their champagne, like, what are they
Right,
doing here?
right. Well, it's like the whole Ford versus Ferrari thing, like on steroids. It's
Totally.
like the whole thing. Like, what are these people
Yep.
doing here? And they just show up like literally with a NASCAR. So what I didn't realize, I thought this was really cool because the thing had it was number 24 in the race, and
Mm,
I recognized the number was Jeff Gordon's like 24, and so I'm
yeah.
like, okay, wait a minute. And so I did a bunch of research on that too, because I'm like, is it like regular sports numbers? Is it like married to a driver? So what I didn't realize is Jeff Gordon is the team vice chairman for
No
the Hendrick
kidding,
Motorsports NASCAR team. Yeah, so it is his number
dude.
purposefully. Apparently, that number has won 97 Cup Series races, the fifth most in NASCAR history. And
Wow.
the current driver, William Byron. So apparently, there's like a new driver for 24, which is weird to me. Has added four more wins to that. So that was cool. So I didn't
Wow.
realize that they were like campaigning a number like that, and also that like these numbers are like these monolith things in NASCAR, which is kind of interesting. But
Dude,
there's a couple articles.
Billy B
Yeah,
out there representing the US of A.
right.
That's
Well,
awesome.
so there were three drivers who raced for the team. I got to find the thing. There was an IndyCar driver, a NASCAR driver, and then another dude, which I feel bad for not knowing. I think it was a Le Mans guy. Yeah, I'll look up the names in a second. So they had their next gen Chevy Camaro ZL1 race car. This was introduced in 2012, single entry class for innovative vehicles. Basically allowed for creativity. So if you open that link, I have like a
Oh
history of
yeah.
all of the other Garage 56 entries that have been notable over the
Oh,
past
okay.
decade. So first up on the list here was the Nissan Delta Wing in 2012. I don't know if you've remembered seeing pictures of this thing. It's a very weird looking car. It's exactly
I
what you
don't
picture in your mind when I say Delta Wing.
Yeah, you're right. It is what I pictured. I don't think I've ever seen that before, but that looks
Okay.
wild.
Yeah, so that was that. That let's see. I don't know if they say too many details about the vehicle itself. The next one, 2014, was another version of a Delta Wing, but this was an all electric version. So this one had,
Oh, in
or I guess it
2014.
was a hybrid. It had lithium ion batteries, 300 brake horsepower, and then accompanying it was a 400 horsepower 3-cylinder combustion engine. Side note,
Wow.
where's that 300 or where's that 400
Yeah,
horsepower
right.
3-cylinder engine? I'd like to
I
see
know
it,
where it
please.
is.
I
It's
would
in
like
the
it for
Yaris GR.
I would like it for personal reasons that I can't disclose.
Yeah, right.
So there was that. That apparently did the first, let's see, reasonable and qualifying set the 27th fastest time, managed to set a lap using purely electric power, but then the gearbox issue, like there was a catastrophic failure and it couldn't race anymore after lap 5. So boohoo.
Wait a minute.
Um,
The
yeah.
2016 SRT 41. Is that what you're talking about?
Yep.
Did you see the
Yep.
description?
Yep. Did you see the
Re-
guy?
yeah, is that
So
where you were
let me,
getting?
yeah, that's
My
what I was
bad.
just going to talk about. So no, you're good. So 4 years prior, so in 2012, businessman Frederick Sasset, probably butchered his name, sorry, dude, tragically lost all of his limbs to a vicious infection. So he fought back and set incredible records at the 2016 race. So he adapted a race car so he could operate the throttle and braking system with his thighs and steering column attached to his right arm limb because he only has a limb. He doesn't have a hand anymore. So he raced the race that way,
Dude.
qualified 32nd, finished at 38th for this 24-hour race. So then what do we got? 2021 was another one, another SRT 41 team. This time featured 2 disabled drivers, a motocross competitor who became paralyzed from the waist down, and a Grand Prix motorcycle rider who became similarly injured during a crash motorbike, both using an LMP2 car with hand controls. So there was another disabled team. And then the next one it skips to
Dude,
2023 NASCAR.
I love that NASCAR. And then the picture too.
Yes,
All
yeah,
them. Race
the
car.
sky shot of the whole team.
Race car.
Um, so yeah, so this was the
Dude.
celebration of the 75th birthday of NASCAR, which is crazy. So, I guess all told, it finished the endurance race in 39th position out of 62 cars that entered. So pretty respectable. Their goal was to finish the race, and they were able to do it. They fixed a driveline issue that cost the squad about an hour of track time. Prior to that, it was
Whoa.
ahead of all of the cars in the GTE class. So if it wasn't for the driveline issue, they actually would have been pretty well placed above an entire class, which is nuts. So
That's crazy.
it ran. So this is nuts to me because I looked it up. So this course, the Le Mans race in right next to Le Mans, France. I'm pretty sure I'm saying that name wrong too, which is great. Is
Lamas, is that like the breathing for
yeah, it's either a
giving
race or
birth thing?
breathing for pregnancy. So it is a 8.4 mile track. Okay. So for this 24-hour race, the Chevy ran 285 laps, which
Wow.
approximates out to about 2,400 miles of race time, which is
No
nuts for
wonder
a
it had
car
a
to run
driveline
flat
issue.
out.
You
Right?
go try driving full out for 2,400 miles and see if you don't have a driveline issue.
Right? Well, and for a fun comparison, they said this is roughly 4 Coca-Cola 600s, NASCAR's longest race on the schedule.
Dude, I love that. That's an amazing comparison. And I also love that we refuse to measure by any, like, we will measure by anything other than kilometers. Like,
That is
we're
true.
like, this is, you know how long that was? It was 4 Coca-Cola 600s.
They're like, oh, Coca-Cola 600, in parentheses, NASCAR's longest race. That's
Yeah.
so funny.
That's equivalent to
That is
if you
funny.
wind up 697,000 washing machines. Like, we will not use the
Now, what would it be?
kilometers.
It'd be like, that's if you sat 3,200 cans of beer end to end.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is
That would be it. Yeah. Oh man. That's funny.
so. Let's see what else here. Yeah, so it was obviously wasn't eligible for any trophy or anything like that, just because of the class that it was in. But
Make our own trophy.
yeah, I forgot there was a quote in here that I thought was funny. I must have deleted it. Basically, they were like, their whole goal was just to finish. And so after the first little bit, oh, here we go. When we saw that we were in the hunt, to be leading the GT class, is when we switched a bit from let's just cruise to all right, we can actually race a lot of these guys.
That's hilarious. Yeah, you don't have any expectations if you're not like you can see horsepower figures and whatever like that, but if you
Yeah.
don't know exactly where you're going to place until you start seeing that, that's funny.
Especially with something so different, like so drastically different looking, different scale, different everything. Like the other thing that was nuts, I think it was the only car in the race that didn't have functioning doors because NASCARs don't. So like
Ah,
they had to pull, like every time they had to get a driver in and out, they had to like obviously lift up through, they had to drop the window net, go out the window net. The next guy had to come in. They were showing it off in the pit stops because it's like the uncivilized, like it's kind of hilarious. It's like the uncivilized, like redneck American thing coming over to do this whole
yep.
thing. But it's like you said there's a pretty good video. I haven't seen it of it passing the Ferrari, and
Yeah,
doing some crazy stuff.
dude.
But I know like the torque of it was just ridiculous, and
It
like
passed
it
the Ferrari and shifted along the way. Like it dropped a gear. Like, yeah, it goes from like fifth to sixth or whatever as it's passing
dude,
this Ferrari
all the
Super
memes
T
with
car or whatever.
it over ACDC has just I've been losing it just to see this
Dude,
thing like ripping through. It's so
we
funny.
needed, I think as Americans, we needed this. We needed like a show of American excellence, you know? And like,
Yeah,
what better
just
way
a
than to like,
gentle reminder.
what better way than NASCAR to take a
That was
NASCAR
awesome.
over to some purely
Just
not
awesome.
NASCAR sport?
Yeah. Oh, you think this car can only turn left? Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
We'll beat the GTE class just because we feel like it,
And
which
then
is just
they're
awesome.
like, they were just testing it like it's all, you know, these scientist racist.
Yeah.
I almost said racist. Probably not off.
Ah.
I meant racer guys, going to test this car. And then they're like, shoot, Billy, I think we can win this thing.
Like you could totally picture the moment where they're like, huh. It's like
Yeah,
wasn't that in Ford versus Ferrari where they're driving and he's like, hey, if I can go above 10,000 RPM, like I can actually have a chance here. And then they're finally
right.
like, do it, go above the RPM limit. And then he did. It's like there's more in the car. They just weren't driving it
Yep.
hard, which maybe if they didn't, they wouldn't have had the driveline issue. But it's kind of cool that they like gave it all they got. They ran into a driveline issue, which like we just read the other Garage 56 cars like had driveline issues. There were in the race. Let's see if I can find it real quick. Le Mans standings. There were like a bunch of teams who didn't finish. So it's not like they were the only one at risk. There was, let's see, how many DNFs are there? Oh, it's not listing it on the site. I think there was like 5 or 6 teams that didn't finish based on whatever. If there was an accident, mechanical failure, something weird. But like that's a thing that happens regularly, but not for this team, which is kind of cool. I also heard rumors. I don't know how true it was, but like you got 3 drivers. So like 24 hours, 3 drivers. You're racing for 8 hours apiece, which like if you think about it, that's insane. Because like even like we've gone. This is a really dumb example, but we've gone go karting, and you go kart for like what 20 minutes, like 25 minutes maybe. You're going and go karting, and you finish, and you're like, wow, man, I was really wired for that go karting race. And like you're not driving 150 miles an hour. You're not doing anything crazy. Oh no, you're looking up how to
Did
how
you?
to correctly pronounce this.
Yeah, I just sent you for studying later. I
Well,
didn't listen to it obviously, but
so yeah, okay. So like you're normally like that engaged for such a short period of time, and these guys are doing it for like 8 hours in their car, like at high end speeds, trying to set lap records, overtaking people in the middle of the night. And so apparently there's rumors that like while one driver's going, the others are like trying to rest or trying to relax to be ready for their racing position. And
yeah.
apparently this V8 screaming by kept waking the drivers up every time it would pass. So like every 3 minutes, this thing would pass and like wake people up, which is
That's
also like the
awesome.
most American thing ever, which is funny.
Yep.
But
Yep.
but yeah, I thought that was really funny. All right, let's see how I'm saying this word wrong. I got to watch
Yeah,
this
let's
video
listen to
now.
the pronunciation. We should probably wrap it at that.
In France, it is said as Le Mans. Yes, the
Okay,
S is
okay.
silent here. Le Mans.
Lemon, dude.
Lemon.
Lemon. No, you say that. Lemon.
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 You know what?
Dude,
America's,
shout
bro.
out-
Le Mans.
Yeah. Shout out Julie and Miguel. That was a fantastic video.
How it started was pretty intense.
Yeah. It's like, whoa, what are we watching?
But anyway, on that weird note, so there's the fun update on 24 hours of Le Mans. There's the Isle of Man TT. We got Zach in a manual car for the first time in a few years, which is super exciting. We're both in the
Feels good.
Subi gang.
I'm back.
We've thrown out the idea of maybe we become the Burble Brothers instead of Third Pedal Podcast.
I actually
joke.
really like that name.
New podcast idea. But the the Burble Bros, all vapes, no races. I don't know. I'm not crushing on these taglines. But no, we got that, and then I'm back in a Beamer. So there's your crazy weird episode for this week. But yeah, definitely go check out if there's anything you guys are gonna do. Third Pedal Podcast crew page on Facebook. Share your car, share all that stuff. We've got a bunch of car meets. We've got apparently we were just invited to a track something up by Green Bay. In the middle of July. So there's gonna be something like that. We're trying to get out some autocross events, trying to get out to more cars and coffees type stuff. But yeah, if you're in the Midwest, like let us know where you guys are going. If you're not in the Midwest, then share photos of where you're going because there's a lot. There's probably some more listeners in your guys' area, and that's kind of what we want to like start building up. Is like all these like little mini car communities. So if you guys can find each other through us, awesome. meet up, link up, send us photos. It'd be awesome. But yeah, go check it out. Third Pedal Podcast crew page. It'll be posted in the notes below on this episode. But I think that's all we got for this week. So without further ado, don't bust your knuckles wrenching, drive safe, and we'll see you on the flippity.
Peace. Thanks for watching, guys.